Swift Quickie. GDP, or Gross Domestic Product. Consumption plus investment plus government spending plus exports minus imports. A metric that is so important throughout the world's economic analysis. It was developed in 1934 by Simon Kuznets as a way of measuring the size of a country's economy to make it easier to compare with other countries. After the 1944 Bretton Woods Conference, it became the main tool for measuring a country's economy. But Kuznets had a few warnings for everyone, and, hate to break it to you, but no one listened. He told Congress in 1937, "With quantitative measurements especially, the definiteness of the result suggests, often misleadingly, a precision and simplicity in the outlines of the object measured. Economic welfare cannot be adequately measured unless the personal distribution of income is known. And no income measurement undertakes to estimate the reverse side of income, that is, the intensity and unpleasantness of effort going into the earning of income. The welfare of a nation can therefore scarcely be inferred from a measurement of national income as defined above." So he warned specifically not to use it as a measure of economic wealth, which is how it's mostly used today. It also doesn't count work people do themselves. Pay for someone to mow your lawn, it shows up in GDP, but it doesn't if you mow your own. Cook your own food, GDP isn't increased, but it is if you go to a restaurant. Commercial software contributes to GDP, open source doesn't. In some cases, the value of unpaid labor has been estimated to be as much as 50% of GDP. Kuznets also said you should not include government spending, since government only spends money taken from the people to begin with. The problem was most pronounced in World War II. Going from GDP, the war was a boon, with an enormous depression right after. In reality, the war was a time of poverty and austerity, while 1946 and 47 were the most productive years of the 20th century. You can see that, however, if you remove government spending from GDP. You see the deep rut of the war and soaring productivity after it ended. And also, the problem is, if government wants the GDP figures to go up, all they have to do is print $1 trillion and spend it, even though that has nothing to do with any of the things you're trying to measure. That's on top of all the other ways the government can manipulate GDP, such as by running down its assets and tapping its commodity reserves, like raiding the oil reserves to get gas prices down and sales up. Remember our previous Quickie on Goodhart's Law. When an indicator becomes a goal, it stops being a good indicator. Sadly, all of the proposals for replacements and enhancements to GDP just make things worse, introducing components that can be easily manipulated or are very difficult to quantify. So it doesn't look like things are going to change for the better anytime soon.